Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Much better. I had a quick thought that, like tithing, of course, the Bible speaks on tithing, but there's so much more to offer than any financial gain that you have. It's your time. It's your admiration, your intentions, just being his child. Okay, like being in service to the things he's called you to do. That is far more and exceeding in worth than any dollar or $100 or $1 million for that matter, because it's your word, it's your testimony, and it's the blood of the Lamb that delivers us from all those things that the enemy's constantly doing. So I just challenge everybody to really think about how you can push forward the gospel, not only in your actions but in words as well. Amen. All right, I got a good friend that I recently had the privilege to meet, and he wants to share his testimony. I hear it's a good one. His name is Byers. If you guys will give him your undivided attention, greatly appreciate it. All right, Byers, it's all you. All right, yes, sir.
Hello. Just bear with me. I'm going to get real nervous probably. I'm not good at public speaking. I've told this testimony 1,000 times, but not in front of a crowd ever. It's usually to one-on-one. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Las Vegas, and then about halfway through my childhood, we moved here to Saltville. And my mom stayed in Las Vegas, so every summer, for summer break, we would go out to Las Vegas and visit her and then come back here for school. I've always believed in God, that there is a God. Always knew about him, sort of. But the earliest time I can remember of God reaching out into my life was when I was about 14 years old. I was at my friend's house, and he was a Christian. And he invited me to go accept Jesus into my heart and realize what he did for me on the cross. And he told me to go upstairs in the attic and pray and accept Jesus into my heart, and that's what I did. And God really touched my heart in that moment. It made me cry. I was bawling. But from then on, I never really thought about God. Going through high school, I did my own thing. I started getting into a bad friend group, smoking weed and going to parties and stuff like that. And my dad was pretty strict on me. He would look at my eyes and smell my breath when I would get home from hanging out with friends. He wanted to see if I was high. And his tightness on me made me want to just run and be free. Like, I just wanted to do what I wanted to do and hang out with my friends and have fun. So when I turned 18 years old, I decided to move out of my dad's house. And my friend, who I was going to high school with, his mother took me in, and I was just living with him. And halfway through my senior year, I started partying every single weekend, going to every single party there was, getting drunk, experimenting with drugs like acid and Molly and mushrooms, and just getting whatever I could get my hands on to have fun and party and chasing after women, having sex, living for pleasure. I was just wild. And the second half of my senior year, I only went to school about 11 days. My dad worked it out with the principal for me to graduate, just to come in and take 2 weeks of online classes so I can get my diploma at least. And thank God that he did that for me. And but after graduation, I was just loathing off my friend. I had no job, no car, no money, nothing, and I was just smoking weed and partying all the time, getting drunk. And I was looking around at the people around me, the people I graduated high school with, and they were getting jobs, they had girlfriends, they had cars, they were going to school. They were progressing, and they seemed really happy. And here I was, I knew my life was going down a really bad path, because in high school, I was running cross country, playing baseball, I had good grades, I had a lot of friends, I was doing really good. And then all of a sudden, what seemed like just like that, my life is just going straight down, and I'm losing who I am. I'm starting to become really depressed, and I'm living at this guy's house, and he's having a bunch of people come over. They're coming over to see him, and I felt like I was kind of in the background, so I was just like kind of a shadow in his life, and it made me really depressed, and I started losing who I was, and just seeing myself go down this bad path, I got really scared, and I called my mom in Las Vegas, and I asked her if I can come live with her. I wanted to get away from this. This is scaring me. This is not the way I want my life to go. And I need to get away. And she bought me a plane ticket, and I go down to Las Vegas, and she's going through a bunch of stuff. She is going through a divorce. She's taken over a business. She's moving houses all simultaneously, as well as taking me in. So to keep me occupied, she bought me a gaming PC, just for me to go do whatever I wanted to do. So she was really busy. But I noticed she was staying up for like 2-3 days at a time. Like I would go to bed and wake up, and she would still be in her office, and then be there the whole rest of the day. And I was like, all right, something's kind of odd. So one day I went into her bathroom, and I looked on her counter, and there was just a piece of paper laying on the counter, and I lifted it up, and there was a white line just cut out. And I knew it was meth because I've experimented with meth. So I snorted it, and then I found her stash, and it was quite a big stash. And so what I would do is I would go steal a little bit of meth from her and do it and just stay up and play video games on my PC for days, like 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row. Then I would crash out and sleep, wake up, eat something, do some more meth, and play video games. And that was my life, literally that, nothing else, for about a year. And after doing that for about a year, I realized I would look in the mirror, and I hated the way I looked. I looked like drugs, and I saw what I was becoming. I saw the way my life was. I had no love in my life, no hope, no light, no joy, no fun, like nothing. It was just this computer screen and drugs. And again, it sent me into a really deep depression, and I again got really scared. I wanted to get away from this again, and I tried running away from it again. And I called my dad. I moved out of his house when I was 18 because I was rebellious and I hated him. I called him and I told him what was going on in Las Vegas, and he accepted me back in, and he flew me back out here to Saltville and took me back in. He was very, very kind and gracious to me. He bought me a cat. He knows I like cats, so he was welcomed me back home with a cat. But obviously I still got these demons attacking me and enticing me. I'm still a slave to my sin. So when I got back to Saltville, I still wanted to go out and do drugs. I liked the way it made me feel, because in my depression and lostness of who I was, when I was on drugs, felt like I could think more clearly. I could vocalize my thoughts a lot better to people. I liked the way it made me seem to other people, like that. And so I was still addicted to drugs. So I couldn't do them at my dad's house. He was really strict. So I would start going out and doing them with friends. I couldn't do them in the house. I would go outside of the house, and I knew a lot of people here who do drugs from before I moved to Las Vegas. So I would go out and hang out with these people, and these people are hanging out in they're living in U-Haul trailers and attics of abandoned barns and trailers, and people left and right around me are going to jail. They're some people are dying. They're going to jail. They're getting caught. They're having kids, babies with underage girls, and all sorts of stuff. And it's a very not what I was used to, and it scared me. And these people I'm hanging out with, I'm doing meth with them. I'm hanging out with them. I would go there to get it. I would go there to do it with them. And now they're inviting me, hey, I know this impounded car. There's a bunch of backpacks in there, and the dude says that he had some drugs in there. So we'd go to the impounded car lot to try to steal all the drugs out of the car without being seen in the middle of the night and stuff. And then He also invited me to go break into a house. An old man was living in the house, and he just died recently, so he wanted to go in there and take a bunch of valuable things. I'm guessing to buy drugs. And thankfully, when we were about to break into the house, a dog started barking in a neighbor's yard, and we ran because we didn't want to be caught or seen, so we just booked it. And I thank God that I didn't actually go into the house, because I could have ended up in jail or something. Who knows? But so when we broke into the impounded car, we did find a bunch of drugs, and the dude I was hanging out with, he took possession of it all. He gave me a little bag of meth, and for the first time in my life, I had like my own possession of meth, like quite a bit of meth. And I would take it home to my dad's house, and at this time, my dad is going on a vacation to Colorado to visit his mom and dad. So I had the house to myself for 7 days. My dad, before he left, he packed the kitchen full of food, of groceries, and all this stuff so I could eat while he was gone. And when he left, I just literally just did meth and stayed up for, I don't even know how long, to be honest with you. It was a long time. And I didn't eat a thing, and I was just playing video games. And when Dad came home after 7 days of being gone and came upstairs and looked at me sitting on my computer, I was shirtless. I was skin and bones. I haven't eaten anything in days. And Dad started freaking out, and he was like, "Oh my goodness! Like, have I not bought you enough food to eat? Come on, come on, we're going to the grocery store right now." He loaded me up in his car, and we drove to Food City, and it was a little bit darker than this, a little bit later than this. And we're sitting in the Food City parking lot, and he's like, "All right, come on, let's go. We're going to go find some food." And I'm sitting there in the car, and I'm breaking down because I'm too scared to go out into public to Food City, because I'm too scared about what people around me are going to look at me and think. Like, if I'm going to go in there and find someone I know who, last time they saw me, I was this healthy, good kid in high school, and now I'm skin and bones and looking like drugs, and I was too scared to even go out in public. When my little brothers, I had two little brothers, when they would have baseball games in high school, like their junior varsity and varsity for baseball, I wouldn't even go to their games because I was way too scared that people would know me and they would see me and see what I've become. And I was living in so much fear. I hated what I've become. I hated the things I was doing. I felt so guilty. I felt so shameful. My escape was drugs. And it got to a point where I was so lost. Everything like getting a job or getting a car, simple things like that, just seemed like it was out of my reach. Like, I felt like I was too far gone. So I was laying in bed one night and I was suicidal. I was at the end of myself. I was like, I don't know what to do. I've tried running away from it here, and nothing seems to work. This is haunting me. It seems like I can't get away from this. And I just was crying and thinking about the best option is for me just to end my life, because my life is not worth living. So the last thing I could think of was to call out to God. I was like, "God, if you're real, please, I need you. I don't know what else to do." And God, he heard me. About a week later, I went across the road. I was in a lot of distress in my heart, and I went across the road to a little church, and it was about midnight, and I was just pouring my heart out to God. And sorry. At the end of my prayer, it was windy, it was cold, but I was just pouring my heart out to God, and I just asked him if he could I was like, "God, I'm freezing, please, can you stop this wind? It's blowing right through my bones." And instantly, all the trees around me just stood still. I mean, they were just blowing, and then they just stood still, and I was like, well, okay. At the time, I didn't realize the significance of that because, I haven't read the Gospels, but when I did read the Gospels, I saw that Jesus calmed the wind and the waves with just his voice. And I was like, holy cow, like, you did that for me back then. And, like, back then, you were even showing me that you were listening to me, that you were there for me. I didn't really realize that at the time. I was just like, oh wow, that's cool. Okay, and then about another week later, we live out in the middle of nowhere. I had no car, no job. So getting a job for me was really difficult because my dad would have to transport me back and forth, and he already had a full-time job and stuff. So a little convenience store opens up right next to my house. And I walk over there. It's within walking distance. I walk over there and ask the owner if I can get a job. He says yes, and it's this Christian family, a husband and wife, and 4 children about my age. And these people were so nice to me. I mean, they took me in. They would invite me to their Christmas parties, their Thanksgiving dinners. I saw the light of Christ in them. Finally, I was surrounded by good people. I looked up to these people. I wanted to be around these people, but also I had so much baggage that I would hide from these people. I had a whole different terrible life that I lived that they don't know about. That it would haunt me. It would hang on me. And then, so God's really started drawing me to Himself. After I call out to Him for Him to save me, He's all of a sudden He starts appearing in my life constantly. And it was through Christians. He was attracting me to Himself, and He lives in these Christians. And just His light was attracting me, I guess, towards Himself. And then all of a sudden, a preacher starts coming into the convenience store, and he's saying, he's wanting me to come to his church. He keeps telling me, come on. And I'm just like, man. This is my thought process at the time. I was like, man, I've done such terrible things. I can't even forgive myself. If I walked into church, I would burn up. God probably hates me. I deserve to be hung in the street. God probably absolutely hates me. But when I finally went to this guy's church, he convinced me. It's like God was speaking right through that man to me and telling me that Jesus died for all sin. All sin can be forgiven. You're not too far lost. And it really spoke to me. But even still, I kind of went about my own way. And during this time of working at the convenience store, God was taking the desire for drugs out of my heart. I stopped doing them. I would slip up every now and then and get high. But He was cleaning up my life. And all of a sudden, a gym opens up in Saltville, and I'm going to the gym, and I'm working out, and I'm getting healthy again. And my life, from the moment I called out to God, it was just spiraling downhill. And then I called out to Him, and He's just cleaning everything up and adding a lot of joy to my life. And now I'm working at a convenience store. I got a job. I got money coming in. I got a car. But even still, I'm not thinking about God or I haven't surrendered my life to Him yet. I'm still going out and partying and drinking, and I was still a terrible human being on the inside. But and then I started working at the casino in Bristol, and I got a job down there. And I moved in with a friend because he lives in Bristol. I graduated high school with him, and so he invited me to come live with him in his apartment and help pay rent and all this stuff. And I was like, sure, because it's close to work. And so I was living with him, and then one day his cat got out, and we were chasing it around the neighborhood, and we just happened to be in his neighbor's backyard, chasing down this cat that's hiding in a bush. And then the owner of the house comes out and he's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And he started talking to us, and he started talking about Jesus. And it was this 80-year-old man and woman who, they were just the kindest people ever and super faithful. They loved Jesus. And, he bought me the Bible I have. And he started inviting me over for Bible studies. He said a prayer on me. He said, I pray that, that casino really needs Jesus. So he said a prayer on me. He's like, I hope that you go show the love of God to everyone in that casino. And I was like, you know what, you're right. That's what I want to do. But I was still very prideful. while I was working at the casino, I was around a lot of people. If you were talking about something and I didn't like it, I wouldn't want to talk to you. I would distance myself from you. You weren't worth my time to talk to. I was sexist. I really thought all girls were hoes and liars and cheaters and stuff. And I was also racist. My heart was filthy. And I knew, like, I've always wanted a girlfriend, but I didn't want a bad girl. I wanted a good girl. But at the same time, I knew that if a good girl knew who I was inside, she would probably run. Like, I had a filthy heart. But I did want to go show love to people at the casino. I wanted to be kind to people. That's what I wanted to do. But it came to a point where within a 2-week span, the people I was friendly to, the people I was friends with, one would say something rude to me, and then the next day someone else would say something rude to me. And for about 2 weeks it was like that. And I just started going to work, and it felt like a war zone, kind of. And it really did a toll on my mental, and I was stressed out. I was in distress. I was like, what the heck? So one night I decided I'm going to walk home from work and just talk to God. I told my friend, I was like, I'm walking home from work tonight, so don't worry. And I walked home from work that night, and I talked to God. I was pouring it all out to him. I was like, God, like, what is going on in my life? I'm having all these problems with all these people. Like, what is it my fault? Like, help me understand this. It was about a 45-minute walk home, and then when I got home from that walk, I went inside and got on my computer and went to YouTube. And on YouTube, there was a video in my recommended, and it said, you don't have to walk alone. God has a plan for you. And I was like, well, geez, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So I clicked on it, and it was telling me how I can trust in God, how He's holy, He has a plan for me, He loves me, He forgives me. I could just let go and I just trust in Him. He's faithful, He's good. And all of a sudden, I just went into prayer after listening to this sermon, and I looked back on the last 5 years of my life. In that moment, I called out to God, and I saw every single moment He's been with me. He started playing it in my head, like scenes. He's like, this was me. I protected you here. I took your life off of drugs. I put this convenience store for you to take you off that path. He started showing me this was me. And it blew my mind, because I wasn't faithful to Him at all, not even slightly. And He's been so good to me, just because I called out to Him. And it blew my mind. I couldn't believe the grace of God, the faithfulness. And so I just started saying thank you. I was like, I can't believe it. I just started saying thank you, God. And when I started praising Him, it's like a blanket of love came into the room and just wrapped me up. And I don't know how to put it in words. It was freeing. It was, I felt seen for the first time in my life. All this fear, all this struggle I've been going through my whole life, I felt like I was going through it alone. And then I felt loved for the first time in my life. And it changed me. And the fear that was gripping me and holding me back, I was freed from it. She took that away. I could go to work. I could freely love people. The people I didn't want to talk to, I would see that God made this person, and I would show love to them. It was freeing to me. I didn't want to hold bitterness or unforgiveness in my heart anymore. He was showing me how to love people. He was showing me how He saw people. And I've never cried this much telling this testimony. This is crazy.
Praise God.
Yeah, after being engulfed in his love like that, I walked outside and the grass was greener. I would look at leaves on trees and they looked more intricate, and just the design in them amazed me. I was like, God, wow, like you made this. Like, this is incredible. This is real. You're real. I finally realized that he's really real. I've lived his faithfulness and his love, and now he's pouring it into my heart. And I was just sitting there in my chair melting. I was like, whoa, you're real. Whoa. And from that moment on, like, man, I just started diving into the Bible. I had to find out who God was. I started diving into the Bible and reading. I started praying all the time about everything and everyone, and listening to sermons constantly. I couldn't wait to get home from the casino and just pray and just talk to God. He's my best friend. And I have a lot of testimonies of, I've been through a lot of trials in this last 2 years. And God has been there for me in astounding ways, crazy ways that I feel like when I tell a secular person, they probably think I'm absolutely nuts. Like writing to me in the clouds and all sorts of stuff. And he's carried me through every single hard trial. He's been with me. He's never left me. Every time I've strayed away and been unfaithful, he's always showed me grace. He's never let me go, even when I am going in a complete opposite way, when I'm living a lifestyle that is disobedient to him, when I'm treating people in a way that's not out of love. He's still so good to me, and he changes my heart constantly. It's a constant thing with this walk with God. And I can't imagine living this life without him now. He's my best friend. He's the one I run to in times of trouble. He's my everything. That's basically my testimony. I could testify to you guys about a lot of different things, like the relationship I have with God. In times where I've seeked him out and he's responded to me and taught me a lot of things. But that's basically my testimony on how Jesus saved me.
You guys know what we're talking about? I hope each and every one of you understand. That was really good. There's no coincidences, right? I don't really think that I need to say anything else, honestly. If anyone else would like to testify, that'd be fine. I will say this morning when we were in class, I read to the guys at the end of class the crucifixion account and all the things that he did for us, and the extreme amount of suffering and the extent at which he was willing to go to take upon himself that which he didn't deserve, which all of us deserve. Because there's a tendency for us, especially those who have been in addiction or have struggled with specific cycles of sin, because like he said, similar testimony, the Lord got a hold of me. I didn't stop smoking meth right away. It took time. I didn't start having, it's crazy how he never gives up. But in thinking about what he actually did for us, we have a tendency of forgetting what he actually endured and what he went through so that we didn't have to live every day beating ourselves up. And I remember one time at Eagle's Nest, one of my buddies had did something he wasn't supposed to. Has anybody in here done something you weren't supposed to before? You ever beat yourself up for it? Are you a Christian? Do you still beat yourself up for it? Was his beating enough? Because essentially when he said that it's finished, that's what he meant, it's finished. There's therefore now no condemnation. You have passed from death to life. It's no longer that you that live, but Christ that lives in you. It's no longer you that lives, it's Christ that lives in you. When God looks at you, he doesn't see you, he sees Christ in your place. That is victory. That is what it means for it to be finished. We make mistakes and we have godly sorrow. That's wonderful. Godly sorrow leads to repentance. But if you can't stop beating yourself up, you are literally saying your beating wasn't adequate. Have you ever thought about it that way? You're a child of God. Walk in it. Your confidence, your contentment, your peace, your security, everything should be found in him. There is no shame in him. Only victory, right? Because I see Christians all the time that get stuck in this thought that, oh no, I messed up, I'm a mess up, I'm a screw up. Like, I'm sorry, you were never good to begin with, so what's new? You can't save you, you never have. You've never reached a state of righteousness. You never have even come close. And you messed up. Pretty sure he took the cross for that. Pretty sure that he took it all. And when you examine yourself, it doesn't say examine yourself to be sure you're in sin or you're not in sin, because you're going to find you're in sin if you're being honest with yourself. It says examine yourself to be sure you're in what? In the faith. Be sure you're in the faith. In faith in what? It's finished. In the person of Jesus Christ, the one who came, died, took upon himself all that you deserve, and imputed to you all you never deserved by the grace of God. That's what you're having faith in. Not in your ability to be good every day. Plus, you ever tried to stop sinning? Really, really tried? Did it really help that much? Never did me. It helped when I just let go and I just ran to him. Right? That was a really good testimony. It's hard to grasp. Even I know he loves me. I know without a shadow of a doubt. And I know you know, and I know there's people in here that know that he loves you. But do you really know? Does it matter if you feel that way? Do you have to feel like he loves you? Is that necessary? It isn't. That's not faith. Knowing. Do you know that he loves you? And what boggles my mind, and I prayed, and I've talked to him, and I'm like, Lord, like, I can't wait until I am in a glorified body so that I can actually worship you as you deserve. Because no matter how hard I try, no matter how much effort I put forth, I can never be what he deserves. Jesus was that for me. Y'all ever think about that? You ever thought about the relationships that you're in? You have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this. And if you don't do this, they're not going to think they're loved. And if you don't do this, you're not going to get loved back. And if you don't do this, the relationship's going to fail. That's not how it works with him. Because no matter how hard you try, it ain't going to work. It's literally out of your hands. It's all him. Everything is him. The love is him. The grace is him. The truth is him. The way is him. Life is him. So it's like, well, where does that leave you? Here am I, Lord. I don't know much, but here I am. Here's my life. It's all I have. Well, what'd you do with it? And he's not going to say, make sure you're here on Wednesday and Sunday. He's going to say, make sure you show up every day. Make sure you carry your cross every day. Make sure you die so I can live. Right? He died so you can live. So you die. So he can live through you. How he was talking about all the Christians, how God would use those Christians to like shine a light into who he was. You know? Does anyone want to testify before I step down? Anyone at all? No? Well, make sure y'all are reading your Bible. I want to thank you for